everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is my review for the season finale of season 2 of Stargirl titled Summer School Chapter 13 or Last Summer School episode. The description for the episode says as Eclipso unleashes the final part of his master plan, Courtney, Pat and JSA band together to take him down once and for all. We picked up right where we left off with Eclipso revealing his plan had already started with Beth's parents and Jenny warning Barbara not to let Courtney face Eclipso after seeing her become his host, but she was too late. I love the group shot on their way to the American Dream and the banter between Pat and Cindy over Stripe, but that shot of Courtney, Cindy and Yolanda side by side ready to face Eclipso was amazing. Bruce also looked great with his red eyes. Eclipso brought back up because after showing everyone their fears individually throughout the season, now he brought them all to the fight. So the fights weren't as good as episode 6. Those were majestic, just amazing transitions, flips and everything, but these weren't bad in any way. Pat vs. Stripesy had weak choreography, but the dialogue made up for it. I finally got what I wanted from Pat's visions, his insecurities over always being a useless psychic. Cindy vs. Little Cindy was so cool, especially both of them using their shifts, and Yolanda vs. Ted Grant was great other than the obvious stunt doubles. Courtney had no visions and only faced Bruce, but I loved it because of how excited the kid was to see her. But after Beth helped Courtney stop the visions using the goggles, then we got an amazing fight scene. I was afraid they were gonna adapt Yolanda's death from the comics for a second. Luckily she lived and I got a Stargirl and Shift team up against Eclipso. Now that's what I was waiting for. It was so smooth and looked so good till he threw them out the window. I will say though, Eclipso looked terrible in that lighting at the American Dream. He looked amazing in the school, but now he actually looked like Ivan Ooze. He looked much better in the street once he fell off the tower. I love the reference to last season's finale. The villain thinks they've won, then the car horn plays and Mike crashes into them. Except this time he wasn't in the car, he was inside Stripe. Pat promised Mike and Jakeem they could join the fight once the genie returned and Stripe was fixed, but he knew they needed an engine piece they couldn't get so they'd never show up. Luckily the genie came back just in time for them to wish for it. I love Zeke's reaction. He just embraced this crazy shit and got to be Mike's guy in the chair. We got Stripe cutting Eclipso in half with Zeke's chainsaw and that flamethrower Zeke insisted on adding. The genie tried electrocuting Eclipso, which was obviously reused footage, but it's fine because it was awesome when Eclipso pulled him back to electrocute Stripe instead. Rick failed to fix the hourglass, but he still showed up to the fight and brought Solomon Grundy. The fights might have been better in episode 6, but the skill and mashups of these fights made up for it. Imagine seeing Solomon Grundy facing Eclipso in front of a mural of Jordan McKent. What more could I ask for? Finally, Eclipso brought out Courtney's darkness after threatening to kill Pat, which got her to admit she hates him. That's all he needed, that one thread of darkness to hold on to take her as his host. The kid was given so much time to shine in this role, but Nick Tarabai was so good in the scene. I said what more could I ask for? Well, how about my two favorites teaming up against Courtney? Cindy was like, finally I get to kill her, but Yolanda calmed her down. There must have been a lot of traffic, but thankfully, Starman finally arrived in Blue Valley to defeat Eclipso. That scene was pretty cool, but the height difference made it so funny for me. Turns out Cindy did call the Crocs, who arrived just in time to get the final blow on Eclipso. It was like a JSA and ISA team up. That shot of everyone surrounding Eclipso was amazing. It felt ripped straight out of a JSA comic with their huge lineups. With Eclipso weekend, Jenny, Court, Sly, and Jakeem used the light to stop him, and of course Jakeem wished he would be toast, and Eclipso literally turned into toast. Kinda reminds me of how they shrunk the anti-monitor rather than killing him in Crisis, but also of the Superhero Squad show. There was still like half the episode left, setting up what looks like a great season 3. Courtney was worried Sly would take the staff back, but instead he wants to train her. Of course Pat wants her to focus on school, but Sly says heroes don't need school. I can't wait to see more of those two. I wonder if he'll go by Skyman now that Courtney has a staff and the Stargirl. Courtney also told Pat Eclipso was right because there's darkness in everyone, but he didn't understand there's also light. Now she believes that more than ever, and she's gonna need to because Cindy told Yolanda she wants to join the JSA. I'm getting anti-hero Cindy. She got one last great outfit to wrap up the season, and notice how she's always wearing black and green, yet now her dress was mostly white with some black to show that she's embracing the light. Rick was all sad burying Grundy, although isn't he a zombie so he was technically always dead, but Shade revealed he often comes back if you bury him in the right place at the right time and that he's staying in Blue Valley. Earlier Shade freed Beth's parents from Eclipso, now they know she's Dr. Midnight. Surprisingly they were so excited, so much it got them to forget about their divorce. Thankfully they want to make her a yellow and black suit. We're finally getting the comic book outfit instead of that ugly thing she's been wearing. Finally they reveal next season is Stargirl frenemies, and the Crocs are the Whitmore Dugan's new neighbors. We got our first look at Mr. Bones, who's taking a trip to Blue Valley. It's interesting Dr. Love knows Jenny and Todd are Alan Scott's kids. I don't know what I was expecting, and he looks pretty good for CW, but something seems off about Mr. Bones. I don't like how his skull looks pink. I wish they'd gone with the Infinity Ink look. Overall, this was a pretty satisfying finale and a good way to wrap up an amazing season. I loved the first half, although it ended too quickly, and I was initially disappointed, but after every rewatch, it just gets better and better. It's not my favorite of the season, that's still episode 6, but I liked it, and it's just the final piece of proof that CW didn't ruin the show. This was the superior finale. Last season left me worried after such a bad ending to a great season, but this one left me with hope and excitement. I praised this finale so much already, but I do have some complaints. The thing that really disappointed me was Eclipso's plan. It never really made sense, and they hinted at things that I wish they would have gone deeper into. He wanted the power of darkness and light to merge Earth and the Shadowlands so he could consume all humanity and become a god. The most interesting part was that he said it would end his suffering, so was he also being tortured in the Shadowlands? I wish they would have done more with that, and how the staff is a spiritual enlightenment with the power of creation itself. Getting really religious here. After such a compelling villain last season, it makes sense to do a classic world domination thing, but the ISA had an emotional reasoning for their plan. Eclipso's motivations weren't clear. I'm not sure he even wanted world domination. I'm just glad it wasn't the old skybeam in the city that they have to turn off, because they had me worried for a second with those portals. I'm not sure how to feel about the Shade's return. I love the actor's performance, but that death scene was so well done and it was all for nothing. He just loves being dramatic. I kind of feel like the show's lost the high stakes it had before. For example, Bev's parents. I didn't want them to die, and I'm glad they're a happy family now because Bev deserves happiness. But the divorce was such an integral, realistic, and important storyline for the season. And that's how it's solved? They find out their daughter is a superhero, so they decide to stay together? That's the most unrealistic thing on the show. A show where they fought a literal demon. If anything, that would have split their family further apart. Finally, Cam's scene with his grandparents revealing their powers was okay, but it just felt thrown into the episode. We haven't seen the real Cam for like half a season, that it just doesn't have the right impact. Even if I have complaints, this finale proves Stargirl is probably the best DC show on right now. I like Batwoman, but I understand why others don't. But with Stargirl, I just don't understand why it's not huge. It deserves the level of attention WandaVision had. Well, that's it for this video and this season of Stargirl. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for similar content. Leave your thoughts on the video, episode, or season as a whole in the comments below. Thanks for watching and have a good day. Goodbye.